Hi, my name is Dr. Rappe. I'm a certified functional medicine practitioner and the co-founder of Thrive Functional Wellness Center. If you're new to functional medicine and are wondering what it is, well, it's really pretty simple. Functional medicine, we identify what is the underlying cause of your symptoms and then work to resolve the underlying causes using all natural methods. We don't prescribe drugs or medications that are only going to mask or minimize your symptoms, and then you take those for the rest of your life. Functional medicine is all about that underlying cause and working to eliminate the underlying cause using all natural methods, literally healing the body from the inside out. I'm really excited to share this webinar with you today, and I hope that you find it educational, enlightening, but most importantly inspiring. I hope it inspires you to take action, to take that very first step to regaining your health naturally. You know, I say this a lot, and it's true. If you want a different outcome, you've got to do something different. It's that simple. And that's what we've done here at Thrive Functional Wellness Center. For 30 years, we've changed lives through our holistic approach, and we look forward to helping you change yours too.
If you've come on with us today, I really appreciate you coming on to see what we have to talk about today. We're going to talk about the coronavirus. The coronavirus wake-up call. Everybody's heard about it. It's all over the news. It's changing as we speak. Things are changing. So the topic today is really how do your underlying health issues weaken your immune system and increase your susceptibility to the coronavirus. For those of you who might not know me, my name is Dr. Rappe. I'm a certified functional medicine practitioner. I'm board eligible in functional nutrition. Again, today's topic is going to be about the coronavirus. So I've been in private practice for 31 years. I graduated in 1989 with my doctorate degree, and since that time, I've literally traveled all over the country studying with some of the greatest functional medicine doctors in United States history. I have close to 1,500 hours of postgraduate studies. My postgraduate studies really are focused in functional medicine and functional immunology, as well as functional hormones, functional endocrinology, functional blood chemistry and metabolic testing, again, as well as functional nutrition, which I'm board eligible in. So you can see my education is much more advanced than normal. As a matter of fact, my kids are going to start, they say to me regularly, Dad, when are you going to stop going to school? And I say, hey, as long as there's new information out there, I want to make sure I learn everything I can so I can share it with the clients that we do take on in our office. So again, my education is a little bit more advanced than normal. My main focus in my practice is functional medicine. And for anybody who's on today who doesn't really know what that is, my definition of functional medicine, I think is very simplistic, but really to the point. My goal in working with people in functional medicine is to identify what's their underlying cause of their symptoms. And then we want to resolve those underlying causes using all natural methods, as opposed to your medical doctor who really is stuck or handcuffed in this thing we call the medical model, where their training is different than mine. They really learned in school what symptoms do you have and what drug can I give you to minimize your symptoms? And then you'll take those drugs for the rest of your life. Never, ever, ever really correcting the underlying cause. And again, so in functional medicine, our goal is to identify what is the underlying cause and resolve it using all natural methods. And at this point today, with the coronavirus and all the craziness and the hysteria and everything that's out there, we really want you to understand that if you want a different outcome, you've literally got to do something different. And that's really what we're going to talk about today. So what we'll be covering today in the webinar is we're going to talk about COVID-19 or the coronavirus, the Chinese coronavirus, if you will, America's healthcare crisis, your underlying health conditions that may be weakening your immune system you're just not aware of, and how to take action to boost your immunity to protect your health all naturally. So it's pretty straightforward. We've got a bunch of slides we're going to go through. I just want everybody to know too, if you stay on the talk today, the webinar till the very end, you'll receive a $200 gift from Thrive Functional Wellness Center. We want to make this worth your time to be here with us today and to hear the information we have to share. I really, truly believe we have a solution for all of those out there today who are nervous or anxious or feel that they're susceptible or at risk to the coronavirus. I believe that the program that we have and we've been using for many years will protect you. It's just a matter of you being in the right mindset and deciding to take the right steps to move forward and take care of yourself. I also want to know, people know this presentation is for information only. The information is not a substitute for your medical doctor's advice. By all means, this information is also not meant to prevent, to diagnose, to treat, or to cure any health condition. And if you have any concerns about your health condition or the symptoms you may start to experience in the near future, please discuss it with your medical doctor. COVID-19, the signs and symptoms, at-risk population, flattening the curve, and how to be proactive. The key there is proactive. We've got to take the steps to protect ourselves. So if we look at this coronavirus, you can see there are some similarities between the coronavirus and the common cold and the flu, and that's part of the problem. What they're seeing out there is people are experiencing common flu symptoms. Remember, we are in the flu season right now, or common colds are also out there, and then there's also the allergies that people may be experiencing. When I walked out into the backyard of my house, I have an orange tree, and it's blossoming a little bit, so it's got this real pungent smell. For individuals that may be allergic to that, you may have some symptoms that could look similar to coronavirus. And so it's really important to understand what they're looking for as far as coronavirus and whether you should get tested or not. Very, very important. You can see here by this, fever is pretty common, dry cough and shortness of breath. You also you'll have a headache, aches and pains, sore throat, and fatigue. Those are sometimes happening. Diarrhea is rare, so I don't quite understand why the people are hoarding toilet paper, but diarrhea is rare. Runny nose is also rare, and it says sneezing is no. This is from the World Health Organization. So this is just, everybody is listening to the news and watching the news. You're going to hear them talk about flattening the curve. What does that mean? Well, in a pandemic, the outbreak, when it takes place and it spreads like crazy, you get this huge spike. And once it hits the spike, and then we start really putting some attention to it and doing some of the things that we're doing right now, you're going to see that come down. What we're trying to do in the United States, and we should have been doing maybe a month ago had China been really telling us what was going on and being open about what's happening in their country, is what we're trying to do is we're trying to flatten out the curve. And we're going to do that by social distancing, avoiding large groups, minimizing errands, really wash your hands. Wash your hands. Somebody can come up with a song for that, but wash your hands, wash your hands. We're still seeing patients in the office, and we're washing our hands on a regular basis. Every single patient I touch, I wash my hands right away afterwards. We clean the tables. We're doing all the things we can do in the office to keep it clean and disinfected so we can still service and help people optimize their health. They're closing schools now, and you're also seeing people that are working from home. Thank goodness for the internet and people being able to work at a distance. So for those people who might just be turning in or tuning in, and you just come on board with us, what we're going to talk about today is the coronavirus. We're going to talk about the healthcare crisis, inflammation and immunity. Most people don't know it, but inflammation really is the driver of all disease. And we also want to talk about how do we take action to boost our immune system and protect our health naturally. And again, if you stay on till the very end, you will receive a $200 gift from Thrive Functional Wellness Center. America's healthcare crisis. Now, if I say anything that you don't agree with, that's okay. We're all entitled to our own opinions. Everything that I place up here has been my experience, 30 years in practice, tens of thousands of clients that I've worked with successfully. I believe Big Pharma is part of the problem. So a big pharmaceutical lie, everyone can relate to that. If you sit at home, maybe in the evening after you've had dinner, you put the kids to bed, you're going to relax with your wife who's worked all day in the office, and maybe she's also at home taking care of the kids. Basically, say you're sitting down and you're watching a show and you're going to see commercials, big pharma commercials. They're very manipulative. It's amazing marketing. They'll have, here's an example. Everybody has probably seen this. The guy who's mowing lawns, he's taking one of the new drugs, Farxiga or something like that for his type 2 diabetes. He's literally dancing as he's mowing and singing while he's mowing the lawn. Well, I can tell you for a fact, I mowed lawns as a kid to make money to go to the movies, and I never danced and sang one time. It wasn't a pleasurable experience. I did it because I had to. And they've got this guy dancing and singing, and it really makes people believe, oh, if I take that drug, I'll dance and sing. So big pharmaceutical companies and the big pharmaceutical lie is something we're all being exposed to on a regular basis. You just need to know they're interested in making money. That's their bottom line. They have shareholders that they've got to make happy. In addition to that, there's some misleading information out there by the insurance companies. I see it all the time. I've seen it for 31 years. People come into me and they wave their insurance card, their health insurance card, like it's some magic wand. It's not. And if you've been paying attention over the last 10 years, what you get for what you pay is less and less and less. The amount of benefits are less and the amount you're paying is more. And the reason is because both of these two groups here, the big pharma and insurance, they're in cahoots. My opinion is they make more money and they do better as the companies, and their stock does better when people are sick because they're interested in the one thing, money. Now, let me say something here. That's not to say that there aren't some life-saving drugs out there. There are a few. An example would be this. I have a brother who's a year older than I am, and he received a double lung transplant in November of 2019. He is taking drugs that will keep him alive. They're anti-rejection drugs. He also fits in the high-risk category because he's taking immunosuppressant drugs so that his body doesn't reject the new lungs that he has. So in that case, the drugs he's taking will keep him alive. But in most instances, when you go to your doctor with symptoms and he gives you a drug to minimize your symptoms and you take that drug for the rest of your life, those drugs don't correct the underlying cause. There's many, many, many drugs, 29,000 plus different types of drugs or different drugs being prescribed today in America. The vast majority of do exactly what I just said. They minimize symptoms, you take them for the rest of your life. An example would be blood pressure. Minimize your blood pressure, you take it for the rest of your life. Cholesterol, minimize your cholesterol, take it for the rest of your life. Diabetes, minimize your sugar, you take it for the rest of your life. Those are just examples, and so we all need to be aware of the fact that those drugs are really not designed to correct the underlying cause, but to minimize symptoms. 75% of the $2.7 trillion we spend in healthcare in the United States of America is spent on treating diseases that are largely preventable. What that means is the vast majority of chronic degenerative disease out there, 75%, are preventable. They're reversible. Here's my example. I've held many, many babies in my 61 years of life. I babysat as a kid. I did all these things, but I've never held a baby who had high cholesterol or heart disease or diabetes. They're developed over time, and therefore they're preventable, reversible, and preventable. We do it all the time in the office. This is probably my favorite slide. So, hopefully everybody watching is sitting down. In the United States, we spend $425 billion every single year on pharmaceutical drugs. That's a huge amount. Why is that? What's important about this number? $425 billion represents 75% of all of the drugs manufactured on the planet every single year. We consume them in the United States of America. Again, the United States of America consumes 75% of all drugs manufactured on the planet every single year. Why is that important? Why is that so shocking? Why is that so egregious? Why is it, in my opinion, a horrible, horrible thing? The United States only makes up 5% of the world population. And again, in my opinion, we're being over-medicated. So when we talk about the insurance industry, we need to take a step back and really look at what they're failing to do for us. And what they're really failing to do for us is a couple things. One, they're not educating us. They're not teaching us what we should be doing to be healthy. An example would be their idea of what a diabetic should do is avoid sugar. I mean, it's that simple. And so that just isn't enough. We need to teach people. In our program, what we do with people is we teach, 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 teach. We've got to make sure you fully understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and what's my long-term benefit. When we teach you this information, it's really important that, let me get rid of that, there we go. It's really important that you become independent in your own health. That's when we know that we've been successful and we've taken you to the next level of optimizing your health. You'll know exactly what to do. The insurance company doesn't talk about organic foods and why we should eat organic and why we should have free-range, grass-fed, antibiotic-free beef and chicken and turkey and all of these things. They don't really talk about or teach that. Well, let me give you an example. In this picture, you see the fruit there? If those fruits were from Europe and we tested them, they might have 2, maybe 3 pesticides maximum. If we took a piece of fruit from an average American farmer that wasn't organic, they would have 200 to 300 pesticides. Pesticides play a really important role in bodily dysfunction, metabolic dysfunction, disruption of all of our metabolic systems, including hormone production, distribution, and pathways. So we've got to take the few extra cents that it costs to eat organic and just do it. It's everywhere. And the prices really come down over the years, so it's not that much more expensive, but the benefit is huge. The last picture there is one of my favorites, the gym. I'm a gym rat. I love the gym. I was in the 1984 Olympic trials as a pole vaulter, so I've been an athlete my whole life. I still train on a regular basis. I'm a 34-year martial artist. I still go to the gym. I still do my martial arts. I work out. I do yoga, stretching, you name it, I do it. But the insurance company doesn't provide us any kind of rebate or discount on our premiums for people that exercise. And I really believe they should. It's unfortunate. Now, if we look at the bottom there, you're going to see insurance pays for three things. The main thing that your insurance is going to pay for is doctor visits, drugs, and surgery. Okay? That's what your insurance is going to pay for. Now, if I could make one more statement here before I move on, I want everybody to know I'm not anti-medicine. I'm really not. There are some life-saving drugs out there. But I'm anti-providing people drugs that they use for the rest of their life. I'm not a medical doctor. That's not my expertise. I'm a functional medicine practitioner. But I will tell you this. It's really important. If we work with people, I don't change or alter their medications, and I don't take the place of their medical doctor. We still want you to follow up with your medical doctor and do some of the things that they want you to do. Just remember this. As I help you optimize your health and supercharge your immune system, and your blood labs go from bad to good, and you show those to your medical doctor, it's their job to remove or eliminate or reduce those medications that are no longer necessary. That's not my job. That's not what I do. Okay? Just wanted to clarify that. So let's look at some research. Harvard Medical School says chronic inflammation plays a central role in some of the most challenging diseases of our time. If you look at the 10 most common chronic conditions for adults age 65 and older, you're going to see a couple things here. 80% have at least one chronic condition. So that means 80% of the adults in the United States of America are in the high risk for the coronavirus. Anytime you have an underlying chronic condition, it's going to affect or minimize or lower weaken your immune system. Out of that number, 68% of them have at least two chronic conditions. And you'll see here on this chart is just an example of some of the chronic conditions: hypertension, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, arthritis or joint inflammation, heart disease, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, kidney disease, heart failure, again, cardiovascular disease, depression. Okay, depression is about to be the #1 worldwide disease. Alzheimer's disease, which is running rampant as the older generation moves forward and we get older and older. If we don't take the right steps and eat the right nutrition, we're going to be more susceptible to Alzheimer's. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, that's what my brother had. He had COPD. And so these are typically the 10 most chronic. Also, chronic disease in America, 6 out of 10 adults. Now, we're not talking 65 and older, we're talking adults. In my opinion, adults would be early 20s, mid-20s. 6 out of 10 have chronic disease of some kind. 4 out of 10 will have 2 or more. Huge, huge. Let's see here. Increase in bodily, there's an increase in a body of evidence that shows chronic inflammation is weakening the immune system. Chronic disease is caused by chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation sets off a cascade of disease-causing effects that has been linked to Alzheimer's, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, just to name a few, including autoimmune. I happen to have Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune thyroid condition, so I practice what I preach. And lastly, there are people with chronic inflammation have a greater susceptibility to the coronavirus 19 as well as seasonal flus. Heart disease, some of the statistics for heart disease. Heart disease is the leading cause of death for men and women in the United States. Heart disease, it says here in the 2017, the data showed that on average, someone dies of cardiovascular disease every 37 seconds in the United States. So literally, as you and I are watching this, people are dying. Do they have to die? No. Why? Because cardiovascular disease can be stopped and reversed. These people just have never been taught what they should be doing other than taking the drugs their doctor prescribed to them. In addition to that, 2,353 deaths from cardiovascular disease happen every day based on 2017 statistics. This was put out by the CDC. Research shows approximately 80% of all cardiovascular disease can be prevented by reducing inflammation. There it is again, reducing inflammation, and also adopting a healthy lifestyle behavior. The healthy behaviors such as eating a healthy diet, engaging in physical activity, or exercising, maintaining weight, keeping your weight down, these will have the most impact, and they also, every one of those things will also boost and supercharge your immune system. So that's why it's important for us to go down this path and really teach you what you could be doing to get healthy and live a healthy life. Some diabetic facts for those of you who know anybody who's diabetic. 100 million Americans are either diabetic or pre-diabetic. Diabetes drives inflammation. Diabetes is the #1 cause of blindness and kidney failure. People with diabetes are 4 times more likely to have a heart attack or a stroke due to inflammation. And for those of you who are watching, if you are diabetic, taking the pill is not going to save you. Most of the time, taking the drug your doctor is providing you will make you more diabetic. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. And lastly, diabetes has tripled since the 1980s, and it's supposed to triple again between now and 2030. So that right there statistically tells us that the drugs are not working. So in a nutshell, increased insulin is what we get when we eat carbohydrates, and you're going to get an increase in inflammation when we have insulin. Insulin spikes, we have insulin inflammation spikes, and when we have an inflammation spike, we're going to have a weakening or a reduction of our immune system. And in this environment today with the coronavirus, we don't want a weak immune system. That makes us highly susceptible. This is just blood work. This is an actual blood lab from one of our clients. This gentleman came to me in January of 2016. He was an interesting case. He came in with his wife, and I sat down and I started doing an intake with him. And the words out of his mouth were this: "I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to die." And his wife is crying, literally crying, "Don't let him die." So as I went through the consultation, he really was the guy that we should be working with. He's the guy that really needed help. He had been with the same doctor for over 20 years. He was taking 3 oral medications every day. He was taking 2 different insulin injections twice a day. And his numbers were really clear. His fasting glucose 207 and his hemoglobin A1C 9.4. So when he was on all of the drugs that were supposed to help him, they weren't helping him. He was horrible. He'd gotten worse and worse and worse, and they kept giving him more and more drugs. And so he came on our program, and you can see there in April of that same year, what happened, we retested him. He was off all of his medications, and he was no longer a diabetic. So we literally reversed his type 2 diabetes. You can see his hemoglobin A1C there was 5.4. He was not on any drugs. He took his labs back to his doctor, and I have to say, shame on his doctor. He looked at his labs, and he got up and walked out. He got up and walked out of embarrassment and shame, but he worked with this guy for 20 years and made him worse. It was an aha moment. What he should have done is he should have said, "Who is this guy, Dr. Rappe? This is amazing what he's done for you. I need to call him. Let me talk to him. I want to go to lunch with this guy. He can help my clients." But he didn't. He let his ego get in the way, and he kept pushing drugs and more drugs. So this is just an example of what we do with people, and diabetes isn't the only thing we do this with. If we look at some thyroid facts, and again, for those of you who maybe just came on, I happen to have thyroid Hashimoto's, so I fit into this category as well. It's an autoimmune disease, but it does attack my thyroid. 30 million people in the United States have a thyroid disorder. Half of those are undiagnosed. Females are 5 times more likely, and 20% of diabetics will have a thyroid issue. The reason is because they overlap, and you'll see here how my thyroid affects my sugar metabolism, and so they're connected. And at the bottom, you'll also see there where it says thyroid issues can weaken your immune system. Okay, so if I have some thyroid dysfunction, it doesn't mean my thyroid's not working. It can mean that I have liver issues that cause my thyroid not to work, meaning I'm not converting T4 to T3 like I should. If I have any gut issues, leaky gut, diarrhea, constipation, IBS, diverticulitis, Crohn's, any of these gut issues, I'm not going to convert T4 into T3. I'm going to have high TSH. My doctor's going to be prescribing me a hormone I don't need. And those particular scenarios with gut issues are going to weaken my immune system as well. So it's really important. Your thyroid is an incredibly important organ in our body or gland. And so it's really important. We address that with every one of our clients. If you look at what the thyroid supports here, bone metabolism, there it is. It supports your immune system, brain and nervous system, gastrointestinal function, liver and gallbladder, growth hormones, sex hormones, and estrogen, as well as fat burning. Really important for fat burning. Insulin and glucose metabolism, there it is. What happens is you can have an issue with your glucose metabolism and it can affect your thyroid. So they go back and forth. And down here, healthy cholesterol levels and proper stomach acid. So let me just take a second and mention healthy cholesterol levels. At my age, 61 years old, all I've heard my entire life is cholesterol is bad, cholesterol is bad. And I remember back in the day when everything was no fat. No fat this, no fat that, don't eat fat, don't eat this. Well, that whole era or time in our country made everybody sick because we need fat in our diet. We need fat in our diet for our brain to work. Cholesterol plays an important role, a really, really important role in 3 different areas. Brain function. As a matter of fact, for any of you who are sitting here watching this right now, 25% of all the cholesterol in your body right now is in your brain. Your brain makes up 2% of your body weight. So that tells you how important it is. In the studies that they came out with years ago on statin drugs, what they found was lowering the cholesterol too low will make people go into the first stages of dementia. They didn't let anybody know about that because they wanted to make money, so they just pushed their drugs, and the doctors ran with it and dispensed it to everybody. Lower, lower, lower. Cholesterol should be lower. That's not true. In addition to your brain, sex hormones. I have to have a certain amount of cholesterol in order for my body to manufacture the appropriate number or level of sex hormones. And lastly, every single cell in your body, trillions and trillions of cells, have cell membranes, and these cell membranes are made out of lipids. So whenever there's damage to the cellular membrane, my body uses one thing to mend the damage. It uses cholesterol. So cholesterol is really important for us to be healthy. The key is we need to have the right amount, and we can do testing to identify if our LDLs or lousy cholesterol particle sizes. There's LP little a, there's ApoA and ApoB ratios. There's all these other things that we can do to identify what your true risk factor is. Unlike the conventional medical doctor will say, it's high, you need to take a statin. When you complain, oh, I don't want to take a statin. Well, you know, your grandparents had heart disease, and your parent, you know, and then they try to scare you into taking it. The key is this: you are the boss of you. You're in charge. The doctor works for you. You don't work for him. If you decide you don't want to take those meds and ask him to do other testing, if you won't do it and he gets angry at you and upset, find a new doctor. Simple as that. We run all those tests here in the office. We can do all of that as well. And then proper stomach acid. In addition to stomach acid, you need to understand this. And we'll get a slide. I have a slide coming up. But low stomach acid can increase your susceptibility to the coronavirus as well. We have to have proper stomach acid to fight off and help our body defend against bacteria and acids or viruses that we don't want. There's 3 types of stress. Everybody's talking about stress. Well, you know what? Stress can affect your body in different ways. It can affect you physiologically. It can change your chemistry. It can change a lot of different things in the body, and it can affect hormone production, metabolic processes, pathways, all these different things. Now, none of us, at least I don't think Tom Brady's on here watching this. He's going to Tampa Bay or one of those places. Physical stress. Physical stress on the body can really affect us negatively if we have too much of it. In addition to physical stress, there's chemical stress. Chemicals are everywhere. If you took a shower this morning, you washed your hair, used your body soap, shaved, shaving cream, cologne, deodorant, wash your clothes, vacuum the carpet, and use some kind of carpet fresh. You know, Febreze in the air. Look outside. The wind is blowing. Chemicals blow up off the grasses and the golf courses, up in the air. There's chemicals everywhere, and they affect our body's physiology. They affect our body's chemistry and our metabolic processes. They can drive us into metabolic dysfunction. When we're in metabolic dysfunction, we have a reduced or a lowered immune system, and we are going to be susceptible to the viruses that are out there. And in today's day and age, the coronavirus is the #1 thing we need to be focused on. Lastly is emotional stress. Nobody watching this right now is panicked about the pandemic, right? I mean, if you go to the grocery store, the shelves are empty, people are buying toilet paper. It's absolutely crazy out there. I personally blame the media. In my opinion, they've really overdone it. That's not to say that it's not bad. It is. But, you know, we want people to be calm. My job is to help you be calm. We're going to get through this. We're going to show you how to supercharge your immune system as a defense against the coronavirus. But we want to be calm, because when we're emotional and we're stressed, that's going to also reduce and minimize our immune system. There's lots of research that shows that negative thoughts, negative energy can reduce and minimize or lower our immunity. Stress is known to suppress the immune system, functions as well as increase your susceptibility to coronavirus. Chronic and long-term stress can increase your immunosuppressive mechanisms naturally in your body, which will increase your susceptibility. So stress is a big deal. We've got to be centered. We've got to be calm. We've got to take a deep breath and step back and say, rather than worry, we need to step back and say, I can beat this, and I've got a plan of action, and I'm going to work with somebody who can walk me down the path. The father of medicine, Hippocrates. Hippocrates said 2,500 years ago, all disease begins in the gut. He was so far ahead of the game, it was amazing. We've gotten away from it over the last couple hundred years. We're just starting to get back to it over the last 10 or 15 years. People are becoming more and more in tune with how important the gut is to be healthy. It's common for us to overlook the health of our gastrointestinal system. In fact, 70% of our immune system is housed in our gut. That's unbelievable. Think about it. You can benefit yourself just by clean, cleanse, and repair and getting your gut functioning at optimum levels. Think about that. You can really up your protection. You can really supercharge your immune system. A healthy gut will protect us from infections as well as reduce our susceptibility to the coronavirus. Gut is huge, and it's one of the focuses of our practice. For those of you who may or may not have heard of leaky gut, it's been in the news for many, many, many years now. 8 out of 10 people out there have it. What it really is this. If we look at the lining of the intestines, these are normal cells right here. They're held together by what's called the tight junction. The tight junctions have a very unique job in our intestines. Our intestines are only one cell thick. The unique job is this. They've got to be big enough to allow the smallest micronutrients from our digestion into our bloodstream to make our body healthy. But they also have to be small enough to keep all of these bad guys out, including viruses. So when we develop leaky gut syndrome, over time, we develop leaky gut. These tight junctions start to open up, and our intestinal wall becomes inflamed. As these get larger and larger and larger and more inflamed, inflammation in your intestinal wall will also mean inflammation everywhere else in your body, including your brain. As these toxins that should go into the trapdoor, out your trapdoor into the sewer system, they literally leak through these large gaps and into my bloodstream, and they affect us, because right here is where my immune system is just hanging out. Your immune system is your defense against outside invaders. So when I have leaky gut syndrome, we're going to see nutrient malabsorption, autoimmunity will develop, food intolerances will develop. You're also going to see a blood-brain barrier breach, because the toxins, the viruses, the bacteria will literally cross into the brain, and it can be seen on scans, as well as we're going to see systemic inflammation. So leaky gut is a huge problem, and it's one of the foundations for you to rebuild your health and supercharge your immune system against the coronavirus. A healthy interaction between the immune system and the gut microbiota is crucial for the maintenance of our body's overall health and wellness. It's absolutely crucial. Imbalances in the gut microbiota will dysregulate, okay, or downregulate or minimize your immune responses and lead to the development of chronic inflammation and autoimmune dysfunctions. And again, as I said, I have an autoimmune condition that all my doctor friends said, oh, you have to take drugs. And I haven't taken any drugs, and I've got it in submission by following a very specific autoimmune protocol that I've developed over time. What's your medical doctor's solution? So before I get to this slide, let me just say this. I'm not here to beat up your doctor. They do what they were trained to do in school. identify your symptoms, and give you a drug to minimize it. They're good people. They mean well. Their intent is to help. It's just they're coming at it from the wrong angle, in my opinion. Okay? So what's your medical doctor's solution? My opinion is either they don't have one. What's their solution for a weak immune system? I don't hear anybody on TV talking about how you should eat better, and these are the foods that are good for you, and these are the ones that are bad for you. Clean up and do the things. I'm not hearing anybody say those things. What about chronic underlying disease? Well, we know what they do with that. They give you a drug to suppress your symptoms. What about inflammation? Again, a drug to suppress your symptoms. These drugs are all going to have a negative impact on my immune system. What do? They give you drugs, drugs, and more drugs. And we know that the drugs only minimize your symptoms, and they don't correct the underlying cause. For me, that's the key. My goal is to get people healthy by correcting the underlying cause. Straightforward. Freedom to choose. Well, your choices are really pretty straightforward. Your choices are the foundation for your health. Think of that. The choices I make are the true foundation for my health, whether it's past, present, or in the future. So, moving forward, the choices that you're going to make will determine whether you're supercharged your immune system and you're protected against the coronavirus, or you'll be one of those individuals who will be exposed, who will develop symptoms and get really, really sick and possibly die. So you've got to make the right choices. And I'm here to provide you with a solution. Failure to take action, do the same thing, well, that's just going to lead to a weakened immune system. If your immune system's already weak, it'll lead to a more weakened immune system. So you've got to take action to do something different if you want a different outcome. What we do here is the 3 R's. The 3 R's is pretty straightforward. What we're going to do is we're going to remove toxicity first. You know, we've got toxicity in the body. Anytime we have toxicity in the body, that's going to, again, it's going to lower my immune system. It's going to reduce my immune system's ability to work because I'm struggling with toxicity. Once we do that, we want to resolve the underlying cause. Whatever the causes are, we need to resolve those, and then we need to rebuild your immune system from the gut out. Remember what I showed you earlier, 70% of your immune system is in your gut. So it's really, really important that we rebuild. And we want to use all natural methods. That's what we do. Okay? Functional medicine is about all natural methods. What our program is and what it's not. The program is not a 5 to 7 minute chat with your medical doctor, you know, and then they just prescribe you more drugs. I use 5 to 7 minutes because that's the national average. And it's really difficult to get a feel for what's going on with somebody, to take any kind of a history, to really work with someone on a one-on-one personalized basis when you only have 5 to 7 minutes. And so it's really important to understand that's their system. That's not what we do here. Our program, or what we do, is really straightforward. What it is a consultation, first off, with a certified medical practitioner. That's myself. A comprehensive history and metabolic assessment. We need to look at all of your organ systems to identify what's going on. Are they working? Are they working together? Are they firing on all cylinders? Because you're a whole body. You're not just one organ. We review previous labs. So if you've had labs done in the last year or so, I'm going to review those, and I'll identify some areas of dysfunction that your doctor's not telling you about, because I look at them completely differently than they do. The medical doctors look at labs, they use very large ranges. Once you've exceeded the medical range in any lab testing, you've now gone into what's called crisis mode, and they'll write a prescription. That's their solution, write a prescription. What we do in functional medicine is we're going to narrow down these lab tests to what's called a functional range. Now we know if I'm inside a functional range, I'm healthy. Once I've exceeded the functional range, I know that I'm headed toward crisis mode. It's time to take action, okay? It's time to take action today and turn things back around. So we're going to look at some labs, and then we put together what's called a plan of action if we decide to move forward. A plan of action is to lay out what kind of program I think would work for you, customizing it to fit your particular needs. If I accept you into one of our programs, I'm going to order all of my own tests. I order all the tests necessary for me to identify what's going on and what do I need to do to get you to optimum health and supercharge your immune system, as opposed to the medical doctor who's going to order whatever tests are authorized by your HMO or your insurance. I'm not interested in that. I want to know everything I need to know to help you get to optimum health and supercharge your immune system to protect you against this coronavirus. We're going to determine the true underlying cause and focus on that, not your symptoms. I want to also address the body as a whole, because you're a whole body, not just a single individual organ or organ system. We want to use a systematic approach, which is really easy to follow. What that means is it's a step-by-step process. We've been doing this for many, many years, and it's very easy to follow. The key is this: you've got to have mentors and coaches to walk you through the system. Everybody watching this knows that knowledge is only powerful if you apply it. So in our program that we customize to you as an individual, not only do we customize it, what we're going to do is teach you all the information necessary for you to be successful, and then we take you by the hand and we walk you through a process of how to apply the information on a daily basis, long term. That's how we've gotten to be so successful at what we do. We have an easy to follow step-by-step process. We all know that 94% of failure is due to not having a system to follow, and so we have a system that's been developed for you to be successful. Coaching and mentoring is huge. Myself, I'm a certified functional medicine practitioner, well over 300 hours of postgraduate studies in that particular field. Lori, my wife, the co-founder of Thrive Functional Wellness Center, she is a certified functional medicine coach. And so you're working with people that have not only the knowledge and education and information, but we live the programs that we teach. And so it's really important. Coaching and mentoring so that you can be successful. Everybody stumbles and falls, but not everybody has someone there to pick them up and to dust them off and get them back on track. And that's really what our job is from a coaching and mentoring standpoint. Your success is our success. So these are the pillars of health that we put together. As you can see, detoxification is really important. If we're toxic, our immune system will be suppressed. We want to teach proper nutrition. There's very specific types of nutrition that we want to teach you to be as healthy as possible. We use a multitude of them. We have a foundational nutrition that we work with. It's all science-based. There's no ideology involved. It's not a special interest group that's trying to get me to eat this or don't eat that. So nutrition is really important. What do I eat to be healthy? And what do I eat to supercharge my immune system? And what do I stay away from that makes me sick? Sugar, as I mentioned earlier, suppresses and minimizes your immune system. So there's some things that we need to do. Inflammation. Sugar is inflammation. Insulin is inflammation. Gut health. We talked about gut health. We need to clean, cleanse, repair, and eliminate leaky gut and get your gut functioning at optimum capacity. Fitness is really important. It's one of the most important things that we can do on a daily basis. We get a lot out of fitness. Hormone balancing is huge. It's good for us mentally and spiritually. But in addition to that, the fitness that we're going to teach you, it's not how to pick up a weight and do something with it, but it's the methodology that we employ that's so important. Methodology would mean this. What we're going to teach you is a methodology that's not only going to work with your body, but it's going to stimulate certain parts of your brain. The prefrontal cortex, where we might start to see people develop some dementias, if we can exercise that, that is going to be like one of these. I'm just showing off the guns, right? But your prefrontal cortex is like a muscle. It can grow in size and strength and firmness. And when we do that, it's going to stave off any degenerative issues that may pop up over the horizon. In addition to that, it also stimulates the hippocampus. And again, it's really important for those areas of the brain for people who may be on course to develop dementia or eventually Alzheimer's. So fitness is huge. Balancing hormones. We've got to balance hormones because all of the hormones in your body can get out of whack. There's lots and lots and lots of hormones. We're going to balance your hormones. We test everybody. It's really important, especially in men and women. We want to see what our estrogen levels are. In women, if they're elevated estrogens, they're susceptible to certain cancers, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, whatnot. So we've got to get you into balance. We have to test for doing that and then balance you out using obviously nutrition and diet will also be a part of it, but certain supplements and nutraceuticals to help balance you out. Stress management is huge. Look at today, everybody's stressed out. If you go to the stores, if you just watch the news. So we have a lot of things that we want to do with stress management. Mindfulness is huge. Meditation is a big area we want to work with people. There's a lot of things we can do from a stress management standpoint to help minimize the negative effects on your immune system. All of these pillars of health are going to supercharge your immune system and give you that extra added defense against all viruses, but in today's environment, particularly the coronavirus. As I mentioned, I am a certified functional medicine practitioner. It was an extensive course that I went through, very challenging, but I'm certified. And it's really important, if you're going to go down this path, you're going to take on this kind of a challenge and walk down this path and get as healthy as possible to supercharge your immune system, to protect yourself and or your family against this hideous coronavirus out there that I believe is going to kill quite a few more people before we've got it whipped. You want to work with somebody who does this on a regular basis. I live the process. I teach the process. It's been an amazing experience for us, reaching out and helping as many people as possible. It has, in my opinion, gives me greater joy and happiness than anything else I can think of. It's just the way I was raised, you know, just the way I was raised. This is one of our clients.
My name is Jeff, and I'm here to talk about the Thrive Wellness Program. I signed up with it a little over a year ago, and before I signed up, I was diabetic. I weighed 290 pounds. I had high blood pressure, no energy. I was up 3-4 times a night. If I was lucky, I was sleeping 3 hours a night. So I was tired all day. I had brain fog bad. My son keeps telling me, like, you're repeating yourself, you're repeating yourself. I would tell him 4 or 5 times the same things. I would go to a job and not realize how I drove there sometimes. And I just noticed every day was getting progressively worse and worse. And even some of my activities, I like the outdoors, I like to fish and hunt. And just going, I couldn't climb hills, I couldn't walk out the time. I was just no energy at all. I had come into the Dr. Rappe for chiropractic and was visiting him for a few weeks. And I ended up, Julie here, sweetheart, she signed me up, told me to come to this seminar and try it. And it was the best thing I've ever done. I mean, listening to Lori and Dr. Rappe speak was genuine from the heart, and you knew they were here for you. So I signed up on September 1st. And 2 months into the program, I really started to notice a difference. I had a little bit more energy, and it was losing a little bit of weight. I just was noticing differences. And the best part about this program, I always have people ask me, like, well, what are you doing? What is it? Well, it's more than what I'm doing. It's the program. It's the testing. It's seeing what's wrong with you, analyzing you, giving you the proper supplements. And not only that, but the moral support. I mean, any questions, you can email them. They respond. They answer your questions. And it's been great. And 5 months after my 5-month program was over, I went to my doctor. And my doctor basically took me off all my meds. She was astonished. No more diabetic, no more high blood pressure, no more cholesterol. Everything cleared up. I also had fatty liver disease, and that was like 3/4 gone. Which when I went back in May, is now my liver's normal. It's been such a phenomenal difference. I feel like I'm in my 20s. And I'm just speechless at how wonderful this program works and how I feel. It's been great. The best part too is sure I've lost all the weight, but it's the energy, it's everything else I've gained with it. And the main knowledge that I've gained is how to look at my body, and I know what I can eat, I know what I can do, and not ignore the little symptoms, whether it's inflammation or allergic reactions, and reacting to it. And this course taught me all that. And I highly recommend it to anyone that wants to change their life, whether it's weight loss, whether it's just getting off their meds or anything. It's just been just about a year. I've lost 104 pounds. No more diabetic, no more anything. Like I said, my energy level is through the roof. I had to go down and get a new driver's license because no one believes it's me in my driver's license. So it's been a total 180 degrees. I weighed what I weighed in middle school, which is incredible because I've been heavy my whole life. But I highly recommend it to anyone if you want to change your life.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. He came to us and like he told you his story, and it's really been a journey for him, and we are so grateful to be a part of it and to help him literally change his own life. And now he has all the tools necessary. He literally has taken charge of his own health. and he knows exactly what and he's a great cook too. He's always bringing us stuff. And a picture of him, look at that. Amazing, absolutely amazing. So priceless, families are priceless. This is my family. You probably, let me see here. You'll see my daughter over here, my gorgeous daughter living up in LA. She's just living large, living the life up in LA. She's absolutely fantastic. She does a lot in helping us out quite a bit. Here's my boss right here, my gorgeous wife. And then here's my son. Just a phenomenal family. I didn't share with you guys, but when I was a little boy, six years old or so, my mom got sick with cancer. She was in the hospital for a number of months, so I didn't get to see her for a number of months. She came home and for a weekend visit, and then we hugged on her, loved on her, whatnot, and we anticipated as kids she was going to stay home. But they took her back to the hospital, and she died 2 weeks later. And I didn't know at the time whether she even recognized me because she couldn't see, she couldn't walk, she couldn't talk. She just had a brain surgery. And it was a horrible experience. And I can remember telling my wife before we got married, I said, I will do anything. I don't care what it costs, anything to make sure that my kids don't go through what I went through because it was horrible. And we kept that promise. I've kept that promise to her for 28 years and forward. And it's just been fantastic. And so this is why I do what I do, not just for my family, but I want to do everything I can to help people in my community. I've been in my area for 31 years now and literally have helped thousands and thousands of people make sure that they don't experience what I experienced. So Thrive Functional Wellness Center, we're offering to anybody that's interested in a consultation with a certified functional medicine practitioner, comprehensive history, metabolic assessment, review of labs, and a plan of action. I'm going to go through this process. So if you would like to come in and see me, if what I said makes sense to you today, if you'd like to supercharge your immune system as well as get your body healthy for the future, the key is this. We're going to have you fill out some paperwork, and I'll tell you how to get that. You can get it all online. We can do consultations online. We can do it over the phone. We can do it in person. But this will take some time. You'll fill out your paperwork. I'll review some of your labs. I'll go through and find out what it is that you're looking for. And we know that right now everybody wants to boost their immune system. So that'll be our priority. And then I'll go through the process of your paperwork and your labs. We'll sit down and meet. We'll talk. And if I believe that this is the right place for you, and I choose to accept you as a client into my clinic, what I'll do is I'll provide you a plan of action. What does it look like moving forward? So that consultation, normally, my normal fee for that consultation, it could last up to an hour, is $287. But as I just mentioned, I've been in this area for 31 years. I don't want there to be any type of financial roadblock that might keep anybody from coming in to see if this is the right program for them. Or that if I can supercharge their immune system to a level where they're not going to be affected by this coronavirus. And we have no idea how long it's going to last. It could be a month, it could be 2 months, it could be a year. So my suggestion is you need to take action. So my gift to you is pretty straightforward. As I mentioned at the beginning, I'm going to reduce that 287 to a simple 87. So to come in for a consultation, it'll be 87. You'll receive everything that's here on the screen. So by all means, this is an incredible opportunity for you to identify if this is the right program for you and if this is the right place. So all you got to do is contact our office. Your call, you'll receive all of the following things in your call. There's my gorgeous wife. She's in charge. She's a clinic. She's in charge of the clinic. She's a certified functional medicine coach. So all you got to do is call now, 760-777-4177, or you can contact us at the email there, lori.rappe@thrivefunctionalwellnesscenter.com. There'll be places for you to contact us there. You'll get paperwork. We'll get together, and let's really supercharge your immune system so that you don't have to worry about this coronavirus. If it lasts for 6 months, 8 months, or a year, you're not going to have to worry, okay? So take the opportunity to change your life. Again, here's some more information. Here's our website, thrivefunctionalwellnesscenter.com. Facebook, we have Facebook. You can get on there and you can contact us that way, as well as Instagram. Again, call us at 760-777-4177. Remember, if you want a different outcome, you've got to do something different. If you want your immune system to be supercharged, you've got to do the right things. You've got to follow the right steps, and we're here to show you how to take those steps. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. This will be up for review on Facebook. So please share it with your family and friends. Do them a favor. Help save their lives and help them supercharge their immune system to protect them from this terrible, terrible coronavirus. Again, this is Dr. Rappe saying thank you very much and good health.
If you have any questions about our program, please contact us using the numbers and emails on the screen. We look forward to helping you regain your health and thrive again. Because believe it or not, your health is your true wealth.